Hey folks, so it is the last week of Season 1 of The War Within. Technically speaking, I don't know if Zek'vir is going to be available on the week where we have Undermine, but not all the new stuff. It's a little bit finicky like that, so for all intents and purposes, we can assume that this is the last season because I'm pretty sure that's when a lot of that stuff is going away. But regardless, it's close to the end, and a lot of people are trying to get their end-of-season achievement done. And Zek'vir, I think, is a big one this time around because, while AOTC is obviously one that a lot of people shoot for, that's maybe unreachable for some people. But Zek'vir, well, it's solo content. It's nice, and it gives a cool mount, so a lot of people want to do it. Understandable. Now, the thing about Zek'vir is a lot of people think that Zek'vir hard mode, so question mark mode, is very difficult, very hard to do. Honestly, with the right spec, it's not. With a lot of specs, it's not. And obviously, you need to know the fight, but what I have here is I have a 6'11 Brewmaster Monk. This is a character on my third WoW account. So I have, like, no renown, right? This is not my main account at all. I don't have any of my account-wide stuff unlocked, and I was actually going to make a video on my main channel using this account basically to show what the gearing process is on a brand new World of Warcraft account, walk you through all that stuff, and how I managed to get, like, to 6'11 in just a few days. And I scrapped that video, but as part of it, I did actually go and kill Zek'vir on this character, so I have the achievement already. We're already done that, right? And I used this exact character, because it's literally the last thing I did before filming it. So I don't really have too much crazy stuff. I have my tier set. Obviously, that's an easy thing that you can do with the Creation Catalyst. I have a few really low item level crafted pieces. I didn't even use, like, Crust for this. I just did the base Spark of Omens. None of these have embellishments, actually. I was going to add embellishments, and then I just kind of forgot. So I don't even have that. I have Cersei Circlet, obviously, because you can literally get this up to max item level within an hour of reaching level 80. It's pretty much the first thing that you should do in your characters. And I have decent trinkets. I actually did get very lucky getting a Heroic Sikrans from one of the Time Walking chests. And I have a Shadow Binding Ritual Knife, which is a decent trinket from Delves. A lot of people can get this one. So overall, is my gear good? I mean, it's okay. It's not amazing. It's not spectacular. I'm missing enchant, right? So it's definitely nowhere near what somebody could really get if they wanted to put their time into it. And I still managed to kill Zek'vir, and it took me 2 tries when I actually did. And the first one is just because I rolled directly into a projectile. I did something stupid. The reality of Brewmaster Monk is that if you're running the right stuff, it's not hard. I'm also not going to use any consumes. I have Cave Dweller's Delight here that I might use if I'm in a pinch, but I have no other potions or whatever that I'm going to use. We're just going in raw. And I'm going to talk you through my setup for both Bran and talents, and also then within the fight kind of strategy stuff on how I managed to do it. Obviously, this will be mostly geared towards Brewmasters, so if you are playing a Brewmaster, you could pretty much copy exactly what I'm doing here, and as long as you maybe learn the fight a little bit, you should just be able to kill him regardless of your item level. It's not hard. If you're another class, you might need to adapt some of my tips to whatever you're running, but my entire point with this video is to show that nowadays, question mark Zek'vir is really not hard. I already made a video on my second channel a while ago about that, but it's been some time. It's the last second. I know people are scrambling, so I wanted to review this. So 2 things. One, for Bran, you always want to put him on healer. There's absolutely no reason to run damage Bran at this point. His damage is so garbage, it's never going to be the difference between you being able to kill everything or not. For Combat Curio, I'm using Porcelain Arrowhead Idol. I actually don't even have any of the good idols, because, again, it's a fresh account. But none of these are really worth running, because Unbreakable Iron Idol, it's not really going to do anything for Zek'vir. That's the only one that you maybe could consider. Idol of Final Will, I know some people are using, because early on it did a lot of damage, and while this can maybe help you kill the eggs a little bit faster, realistically that's not going to happen. Having to position this correctly is very difficult on Zek'vir, because there's a lot of times where the egg will be in a very awkward spot, and Bran will always aim his arrow at you. So if you are not standing directly on top of the egg, which is the only damage in this fight that actually matters, you will just chip Zek'vir down. The damage check on the egg is the only hard damage check in this fight, and there's not really a lot that you can do about that with Idol of Final Will, so this just means the enemies will sometimes take more damage. This doesn't really matter that much. For the Utility Idol, you're pretty much always going to want to run Amorphous Relic. The other ones are just kind of bad. Obviously, playing around this is going to be garbage on Zek'vir, because sometimes you just won't be able to stand in it. This does absolutely nothing because it expires after 8 seconds. This one just sometimes gives you a buff. Technically speaking, in the case of Brewmaster, you would always want to get the massive buff. I can actually reset Zek'vir if I want, if I don't get it. I think for this character, I probably will do that. because having the, slight damage bonus will be kind of nice. But especially if you're a class that doesn't hate haste, Brewmaster does, unfortunately, then it doesn't really matter which of these you get. Both of them will actually help you. And there is a case to be made for the movement speed helping you if you're really struggling to dodge some of Zek'vir's stuff. And noteworthy here that I only have the common versions of these, and the epic versions are even stronger. The only thing I'll say real quick for gear, I kind of covered most of that, but for this ring, Cersei Circlet, because obviously this is really big, take the damage proc stuff. I do not care if you read some guide that says that for your spec, technically speaking, it's good to run like stuff that gives you stats. This is going to be a tough pill to swallow. You are probably not going to be able to get the maximum value out of those secondary stats. If you are like trying to do Zek'vir on a low item level character, the reality of secondary stats is that they get more value the more damage you're doing. Secondary stats boost your damage. If your damage is low, and for a lot of people, you're not going to be doing enough damage compared to like the Sims that those guide writers are basing it off of to do that, you are going to be better off with flat proc damage trinkets, or in this case, flat proc damage stones. They will always do the exact same amount of damage, no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing your rotation correctly or extremely incorrectly. When this procs, it's just gonna do 200k damage. This does a lot. I think actually, yeah, you could literally see, that's funny, because the last time I played this character was Zek'vir. You can look at my overall. It's, okay, it's not showing the full breakdown, but you can see the snapshot here. And at the very bottom there, Undersea Overseers, Thunderlord's Crackling Citrine, both of those did a big chunk of damage, and a lot of times if they procced on the Egg Cocoon, that was the difference between killing it or not, and that is the most important thing in the fight. So definitely very important there. Make sure that you're killing that Egg Cocoon, and this will help you with that. Legendary Skippers, obviously this is a little bit random, but none of the other Windstones are really great, and if this hits one of those damage proc stones, like it can hit either one of these, or it can hit Roaring Warqueen Citrine, which triggers your other gems, so then it'll immediately trigger both of these. Very good. So definitely, I would say run this combo. It's one of the best combos anyways, but a lot of Sims will tell you, technically, if you're being hyper-efficient, run the stat ones. If you're trying to do Zek'vir around this item level, doesn't matter if you're a tank spec or a DPS spec, you're going to want to run the damage stones here. On the note for Healer Bran, I know I kind of skimmed over that a little bit, but if I really quickly view his abilities, the main reason, in addition to Bran just doing no damage anyway, that we're running Healer Bran is obviously you have like a mini cheat death, but this thing here, so he'll cleanse you every now and then. This cleanse is pretty good. You can rely on it every now and then as like a way to get rid of the Zek'vir dot, because you're never going to be using your interrupt on Zek'vir's like sticky whatever thing. He shoots out like a sticky pulse onto you, and then he does his heal. You're always going to interrupt the heal. You're never going to interrupt the sticky thing that goes on you. So you're going to need ways to clear that. Which brings me to my next quick point for talents. Talents, by the way, hero talents, you always run Shadowpan. Anybody who plays Brewmaster, it's kind of obvious. The stuff you run here doesn't really matter. These things are like always the same. You could technically get away with lead from the front. I would say having the emergency Vivify being buffed is slightly better. Vast majority of the stuff I'm taking here is going to be kind of standard for Brewmaster. We'll get rid of Detox because that actually doesn't work on the debuff. So what do I want to run? Actually, I thought this might, because I killed it so early, I didn't really think about that. I actually think, yeah, Ancient Arts here, one more point is probably better, and there's actually should be taking that, more CDR, and that will be much stronger. Whether you want to take, like, some of the stuff is up to you. You don't need to take Bounding Agility. I think it's good. Having more distance on Chi Torpedo, I personally think this is better, at least in the case of Brewmaster. Range and Leg Sweep, a lot of the stuff is pretty standard. You definitely want to take Iron Shell Brew, because this lets you line it up with Touch of Death for the big burst damage. Touch of Death is going to be one of the ways that you're going to always kill one of those, what's it called, Egg Cocoons. So we'll get into that, obviously, in the fight. But Brewmaster's really good, because they can Todd one of the Egg Cocoons every single time, and then the other one you just save your CDs and burst it down. And even at this item level, I can very reliably do that. You need to take Diffuse Magic, that's a big one. This stuff doesn't really matter. You're going to take, obviously, all the damage stuff, take Wind Walking, right? Like, more movement speed to get out of things. Actually, I didn't even think about this, but theoretically, you could do Swift Art. Actually, I should be running that. I think that literally would get rid of the debuff. You don't need it, but it's... oh no, it's a capstone area. Actually, you could drop summon Black Ox for it. Sure, okay, cool. Do not take lighter than air. This is a bait talent. I am a big lighter than air hater. All brewmasters will tell you that this is like a super duper awesome to have talent. They are lying to you. This thing is fucking dog shit. Literally, unless you need the dash to cancel fall damage, this is a garbage talent. It increases the cooldown on your roll. It gives you less mobility. Never take this shit in any form of content. Definitely not in Zek'vir, where your roll or chi torpedo is the main way that you're going to not die. And yeah, I think that's about it, right? Yeah, we don't really need anything else. Yeah. For that, that's it. I'll explain some of the important talent choices when we get into it. This is all kind of bog standard Brewmaster. Trying to think if there's anything relevant here that I need to talk about. Not really. You could take Bob and Weave. I take Black Ox Brew because I like Black Ox Brew. It's technically better. It doesn't really matter if you're not comfortable with it. Just run Bob and Weave, right? Everything else here, pretty bog standard Brewmaster. This is not a Brewmaster guide. This is a guide to killing Zek'vir with a Brewmaster and killing Zek'vir in general. So I'm not going to explain all the little things about Brewmaster and what makes each talent really good. The Brewmaster talent rotation is just very, or talent setup is very straightforward. I'm only talking about anything notable. And on that note, kind of the big ones for Zek'vir specifically is getting rid of that slow, the dot that he puts on you, you can do with Tiger's Lust because it counts as a snare effect. So this is increase of friendly targets' movement speed and removes all roots and snares. This does cleanse the slow. And Diffuse Magic will also remove this. So you have two ways to do it. So basically you're going to run Healer Brand. When it goes out on you, the first one, Healer Brand's always going to cleanse. But there is an internal cooldown on him cleansing it. So the next time it goes out, you're going to Tiger's Lust it, because Tiger's Lust is a low cooldown. And then if you get a third one on you, and Healer Brand doesn't get it, and Tiger's Lust is still on CD, then you're going to Diffuse Magic. And you're just going to repeat that. And I don't think I ever had a scenario where it went on me and I had both Diffuse Magic and Tiger's Lust on cooldown and Brand didn't get me. But if you did, then you would just press a defensive. You'd press Dampen Harm, you'd press Fort Brew. Fort Brew, technically, you kind of want to save for the Egg Cocoon, but if you needed to, you could do that. I mean, you have a lot of options as a Brewmaster Monk. The other thing, so kind of now we're just getting into the fight, right? And I'll talk you through specific things about Zek'vir itself. You're going to want to put Transcendence like around here. I actually didn't need to do this at all when I killed him. And it's going to be something that it's going to take getting used to doing this. You won't immediately remember to do it. But the nice thing about having Transcendence, like, let's say here, a lot of the trickiest parts of the Zek'vir fight is when there's an Egg Cocoon that spawns, like, let's say right here. And you have to drag Zek'vir over here to kill the Egg Cocoon, and he does, like, his Purple Horror ability right against the wall. You're right here. You would have to run all the way over here, and you can't get out of range. Well, here's the thing. I'm in range of Transcendence right now. So if he does that, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't escape, you can always just teleport. So having this in a centralized location within the room at any time, whenever Zek'vir does one of those abilities, you just have a get-out-of-jail-free card. So unless you're really unlucky and you're, like, positioned in an area, like, right here, basically, and he does that, which, I mean, it can happen, but it's RNG, and then you just go again and you get it the next time, you're always going to have a way to get out from Zek'vir doing that. But okay. I'm going to pull him, and let's hope that I one-shot him so I don't have to edit it, and, well, if I do have to do a second attempt, then I guess you'll know. But, okay, so on pull, I'm going to do my opener here. Technically, damage on Zek'vir right now doesn't matter. Claw Smash, obviously, you know, you're a Brewmaster, you're a tank, you're standing next to him anyway. Stuff like this, just run out. You can literally just hold W. I was actually fairly slow to react there, and it didn't matter. Okay, Enfeebling Spittle goes out. Bran always dispels that. Dodge Angler's Web. Okay, Regenerating Carapace, we want to kick this. You always want to wait until the very end to get that. Right, actually, you don't need, you don't even need Fort Brew to one-shot it there. And you'll notice, right, I'm not using any of my cooldowns. That's intentional. Why would I use any of my cooldowns here? Okay, he put it on me. Tiger's Lust, it's gone. Horrendous Roar. Like, there's absolutely no reason to burst Zek'vir down. It makes the fight faster, but the trick to Zek'vir isn't killing him quickly. He's gonna die eventually. Just chip away at him. The trick to Zek'vir is the damage check on the egg cocoons and just not fucking up his mechanics. That's it. Okay, he's doing this thing. I'm gonna cleanse it. Now we're gonna go really slow here, and now we're gonna go in burst this down. Okay, that's a little bit awkward. That's really awkward, actually. Okay, I'm gonna paralysis that. I'm gonna leg sweep that. I'm gonna human racial that. Okay. So I had to human racial. That's unfortunate. That does help for sure, by the way, on this fight. If you are struggling, you could just race change to human. I actually really fucked that up, though. To be fair. What I should have done there is I should have rocked it against the wall. I also got really unlucky that my flurry strikes procced on... like, procced right as I was running out, and that would have been a big chunk of damage onto it. I did not hold my Weapons of Order for it, because I thought that it would be up, and it was barely not on cooldown. So, basically, a lot of stuff went wrong there. Frankly, yeah. The lesson to take away there is just save Weapons of Order on pull. There's absolutely no reason to use it. I just kind of used it because I was like, yeah, fuck it, it'll be up in time. It wasn't. Lesson learned. Like I said, no reason. Alright. Okay. Let that go off. Fuck it. And there we go. So even without Weapons of Order here, the damage check is very manageable. If you don't get completely fucked by Zek'vir's RNG. And while he got the heal off, doesn't matter that he got the heal off in the grand scheme of things. It's just going to make the fight take longer. Okay, we get this one. I'm going to be able to Todd this. He's probably going to Claw Smash at me. Oh no, he's enfeebling Spittling. There's the Claw Smash. We're gonna wait the last... Oh, my kick was on cooldown? What did I kick? I must have fat-fingered kick. Oh, man. Well, if I can kill it after all of this, you sure as hell can, too. I almost hope that I die now, so I can re-record this. This has not been good. Alright, let's burst this thing. Easy. It's honestly better if I miss my kicks right now while we're still in Phase 1, which, you know, Phase 1's the easy mode. The hard part is afterwards. The hard part is when you get to the second phase. Okay, Brand's not clearing this. I just have to wait a few seconds on Tiger's Lust. Now it's up. Now we cleanse it. Easy peasy. Alright, now he's phasing. Still, we're saving all our cooldowns. We're not using anything. Now, obviously, that second one I didn't mean to let go off. But, as you can see, it really doesn't matter if you let a heal go off. You're still going to kill him eventually. So if you need to go and let a heal go off while you kill a web terror, that web terror is going to be the only thing that really matters. Okay, I got that kick in time. Doesn't matter because I have Todd. There's actually a case we made of maybe I should have just killed that because it was already fairly low, but that's whatever. Okay, we're gonna run over here. Eviling Spittle, this I will have to Tiger's Lust. Watch out for the Angler's Web, by the way. This is something I remember a bunch of people being confused about. If you're wondering why you're sometimes getting hit, the change on hard mode is all of those portals. Angler's Web will bounce between those portals. It, like, teleports through them. So if you're standing in the path of one of them, it's going to get you hit. And I should note, obviously, my trinket is pretty good, but in general, you are going to want to run burst damage trinkets like Sikrin's Endless Arsenal. Anything that does, like, up front a big chunk of damage, and there's, like, a ton of trinkets like that. Anything like that is going to work well for you. Oh, I almost rolled and got stuck in terrain. We're fine, man. Yeah, see here, all these little Angler's Web portals, I really want to be careful about that. Those ones are kind of spread out. Bit of an awkward position there. But as long as you're not directly between two of them, you'll be fine. You see here, Bran died, which is problematic, but he should be up by the time I need him. Okay, we're going to kick Blood-Infused Carapace. I should have Todd up in time to stop this guy. Yeah, alright, we're good. As long as you get Todd, that's all that matters. Roll out here. That's a good example of if I wanted to, I could have transcended. Yeah, see, Brand's back up. You'll never need to revive him, by the way. You'll always get it eventually. Oh, that was awkward. Also worth noting, if absolutely necessary, if you have something like Zen Meditation or Dampen Harm, with Celestial Brew, you probably could just live a Claw Smash, just naturally. That's a fairly good spawn. It ran, cleanse that. That's awkward positioning. Okay, alright, that was really, really, really spooky. That's kind of the stuff that will kill you on Zek'vir. Also, that's why we run Chi Torpedo. Chi Torpedo will get you the fuck out of there. I mean, Chi Torpedo is just... I think it's super underrated by a lot of Brewmaster players. A lot of Monk players in general. I fucking love Chi Torpedo. It's so nice. I feel it's just so much better than having roll. But especially for fights like this, where you need burst movement to get out of abilities like that, you're always going to want to take Chi Torpedo over something else. Okay, we're going to wait until the last second. Kick. He's going to do that. I am going to have Todd for this one. Going to dodge Angler's Web. We're going to go in here on top. Okay, Bran should get me here. All Web Terror. Decent spawn. Bit of an awkward position here. Nice! Okay, that was close. And now what I'm gonna do is, ideally, I'm gonna just pump damage into Zek'vir, and I think that when the next Web Cocoon spawns, I'll be close enough to just, yeah, always watch out for those orbs, by the way. They spawn at cardinal directions around Zek'vir's Horror. They will one-shot you. That you cannot live. Claw Smash is livable, especially on Brewmaster, with enough defensives. But yeah, see this Web Terror? I could go and Todd it. I'm not gonna Todd it. We're gonna Todd the fucker himself. Alright, Zek'vir. Ready to die, bitch! Boom! Alright, that's Zek'vir hard mode. Really not hard at all. Especially for Brew. The thing about Todd, right, is just having this, especially on Brew, where at just regular health you can one-tap it with Todd. It's a stupidly strong ability. Like, what was my damage breakdown there? Look at look at how much Todd did overall. That's so dumb. I don't know why it just refuses to show on this character. Like, if I look at the breakdown. But you can see on here, Todd literally was my #1 damage ability. Did 16% of my overall. So, it's going to be a little bit harder on some other classes. So, if you are playing, like, a different spec, I would say my general recommendation for most classes is to play a DPS spec. Because on a DPS spec, generally speaking, even at this item level, like, my first ever Hardmode Zek'vir kill was on a Frost Death Knight at, like, 613, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just pressed damage buttons, and I lived. And with Healer Brand, you have more than enough survivability to actually live it. The only reason why it's a little bit sketchy as DPS is in those situations where Bran does die, especially if you are a class that can't reliably clear every single one of his dots, you can't actually just rot out if Bran is stupid and goes unconscious. And unfortunately, Bran still randomly will die at the end of this fight. It's crazy that they haven't fixed that. The nice thing about Brewmaster Monk is Brewmaster is, I would honestly go so far to say, is it might be the easiest spec to do Hardmode Zek'vir with. It's just face roll simple. You can see you don't even need good gear. You just basic shit. Walk in here, Todd one of them, all CDs and burst the other one. It's very, very, very hard to fuck it up. And the only mistake I made, it was half a mistake, half I got like a ridiculously unlucky Zek'vir pattern, was in that first phase where I had to use human racial to survive. I mean, even then, it's like I actually, if I had reacted fast enough, I might have been able to Ring of Peace that mob and kind of bounce it into the wall, and that might have given me just enough time to kill it. But at the same time, if that happens, just die and go again. You know, sometimes your luck is just going to be shit like that, and you're going to get the worst possible pattern, and you'll have to just reattempt it a second time. Is what it is. Anyways, that's Hardmode Zek'vir, and if you want to get your fancy Delver's dirigible mount before the next season, well, honestly, it might be easier if you just make a Brewmaster alt to get it to, like, a basic item level, and just do exactly that. And the main reason I'm even making this video is to, like, help people who are trying to get this. Like, I'm throwing it on my 3rd channel, so if you have any Brewmaster-specific questions, right, if you're not familiar with the spec, if there's, like, a part of the rotation that you're struggling to understand, like, you know, maybe you're not really sure how Blackout combo works because it's a fairly complicated ability, and you're just like, okay, I want to ask an expert Brewmaster because, like, I am a pretty damn good Brewmaster, and you just want quick information, how the fuck do I play this part of the spec? Fire off a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you. So, or just message me on Discord, right? My Discord tag is always linked in the description. I will do my best to answer questions. I just want to make sure I do something to help people out, because that was kind of what I was aiming for with my catch-up guide, as a way to help people get, like, last-minute Zek'virs and shit. So I figured, hey, if that was the goal anyway, might as well just make a mini Zek'vir guide. Again, but this time on a Brewmaster Monk, because I didn't actually cover that my first time. Anyways, that's it. That's the video. Hope you get your Zek'vir. Thanks for watching. Peace.